Welcome in everyone to Fantasy Filmball. My name is Matt, with me here is Dylan, and today we're finally going to be talking about The Whale. I think we talked about this a little bit when I saw it at TIFF, but Dylan, you just saw it this week, and spoiler alert to everyone out there, Dylan did not like it.
I did not.
You liked it even less than I did, and I'm very negative on the film, even though I liked it quite a bit. I was just let down by it.
Yeah.
But I think you legitimately didn't like it, because for me, I would say I'm more positive than negative. I just sound really negative about it because there's so many things that I feel like could have been done so much better.
See, yeah, definitely, because like the way you speak about it, and then I saw your letterbox, it was like a 7. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like how you talk about a 7.
It's so weird because like I actually really like The Whale. I think it's a good film overall. However, for me, there's like this thing, and it's the same thing with Babylon. Babylon, I sound very negative about, even though it's a 7 out of 10 for me, and I quite like Babylon. But to me, there's always how I sound talking about a film. It's always the difference between what do I expect out of it. So a film that has such great performances, a film that I really enjoyed the script of, and a film that I think there's so many strong things about it that ultimately I feel underwhelms just a little bit. Like it's a 7 out of 10 for me, but that's still not what I think it could have been. It could have been more.
Yeah.
And that's why I sound more negative about it. So I'm going to try to play the positive side on this one, where in the past I've been a little bit negative because I've been up against people who are like, oh my god, it's the best film of the year. And I'm like, actually, no.
No, it's not.
So now I will play the positive role.
Yeah, I love Darren Aronofsky. I think he always puts out one of my favorite movies of the year, whether it's a top 10 or top 20. The Whale is not that, and I would say this is easily his worst movie in his catalog.
Worse than Noah?
I think, yes.
What?
Noah's at least interesting. This movie's biggest fault to me is I don't care.
Ooh.
Nothing in this movie is interesting. All the characters are so unlikable, and that includes Brendan Fraser's character as well. Everyone in this movie no one gives you. I guess just to clarify, I have no affirmation or no connection to Brendan Fraser, so a lot of what people are saying, like, oh, this is his first performance in 10 plus years, I haven't seen him in so long, that holds no weight to me, so maybe that's where a little bit of my
you're not like a Mummy guy.
Is coming.
Not like a Looney Tunes back in action kid, because for me, Looney Tunes back in action, that was the shit.
I have seen that. I haven't seen The Mummy, but I have seen Looney Tunes back in action, so I have seen him before. But it was a very long time ago, and I didn't remember that he was in it. But yeah, overall, my issue here is the script. You can really tell this movie's a play, and not in a good way. Like, The Father is a play-turn movie that's done very well. This is a play-turn movie done very bad. And I normally love Aronofsky's direction. Normally that's my favorite parts about his movies, is how bold, how innovative, how stylistic he is. And this movie has no style. It's shot so bland. There's no color, there's no pop, there's no interesting camera movements. It's cut to me close-up, cut to you a little wide, cut to me again, same close-up, cut back to you, the same exact angle, the same exact shot. And yeah, overall, I'm going to sound negative. I did fall for the final scene. Without getting into too many spoilers, those last 5 to 10 minutes, they worked on me. As much as I really was hating my experience watching this, those 5 to 10 minutes really worked.
Yeah, I mean, I said that I would be defending the film. One thing I'm not going to defend on this film is Darren Aronofsky's direction. To me, that's the thing that made the whole film fall apart. Because unlike you, I did find that the characters were sympathetic. I did really fall in love with the character of Charlie. I did really love what's Sadie Sink's character's name? Is it Ellie?
Brat Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie. I really loved her character. Even though she's a horrible person, I was very compelled by her misandry and her hatred of everyone. I was so compelled by that. I love Hong Chau's character, and I think her performance is exceptional. So to me, I really enjoyed the script. I think it's very well written. I agree with you. They didn't do enough to turn it into a film. I would say even The Sun did more to be a film than this did.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up actually throughout and be like, while I gave this and The Sun the same grade, I'd rather rewatch The Sun because The Sun at least does some interesting things to me. While this movie, even though I did fall for the last 5 to 10 minutes, it's so telegraphed. You know exactly what's happening the whole movie.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, did not really like Sadie Sink's acting in this movie as Ellie. I thought she was kind of bad. I thought Ty Simpkins was also pretty bad as Thomas. Their interactions, especially between Ellie and Thomas, were very awkward and clunky to say the least. I will retract a statement earlier. I did like Hong Chau's Liz. That was the one character I was able to be sympathetic towards after you learn a certain detail. At the beginning of the movie, I thought this was just another unlikable movie, and I don't have an issue when the whole cast is unlikable, but you have to like have an angle, I guess. And when everyone's just so unlikable throughout, you're like, why are you doing this? Like, this is so dumb. Blah blah blah. But eventually, Hong Chau's Liz does have a end where you're able to connect. Also, not really a spoiler, I guess maybe minor spoiler. Samantha Morton pops up for a scene. Everyone's like, oh, this is the scene-sealing scene of the year. She was fine. Her scene in She Said So better. But yeah, overall, my issue with The Whale is just I wasn't able to connect. I was not able to resonate. And everyone was just very... They were really going for it. Like, I feel like if they were doing this on a stage, it would work. Just in the medium of film, it really just did not connect and resonate with me.
I kind of disagree because for me, the problem that I have with the direction isn't just the boringness of the shot choices. I do agree that it's a lot of close-ups, and it's really disappointing that it's so many close-ups because the makeup work that they do is exceptional. And there's a lot of great set design that they're doing, but they rely on close-ups throughout the entire film. It just feels like shot, reverse shot. But what I think is really a failure about the direction is the pacing issues. Like the beginning of the film, as an example, we get into the film and there's this beautiful scene where he's kind of monologuing to a class, and we see that, zoom out to see the Zoom discussion. Everyone has their cameras on except for Brendan Fraser, except for Charlie. And then we see him jerking off, and I hate that I just did
Bold.
that hand movement.
Yeah, Aronofsky's bold.
Off, but we see him doing that at the opening of the film, and then someone runs in, and the pacing there is so wrong. It's like they're yelling at each other and overlapping, and through the entire film, this remains a problem. There's a pacing issue all the way through, where it feels like every moment, every emotional beat is rushed and forced, and the music contributes to that. I felt like you said that the ending emotionally hit you. I cried when I read the script, because I read the script before I watched the movie. I cried when I read the script. I did not cry when I saw the movie because the music wanted me to cry so much that I was like, I can't feel for it, right? Because the entire time it was just like the music is blasting and it's like, hey, cry now, cry now. I said I was going to sound more positive on this today. I guess I'm not sounding positive on it.
That speaks to the movie, though.
Again, it's one of these things where there's so many things that I think are really great about this film. But there's just so many wasted opportunities that are frustrating to me. It's frustrating. It's the same way with Babylon, that I sound very negative, despite the fact that there's a lot that I really like about that movie. There's just so many things that just bug me, and it makes it hard for me, even though I overall liked it. I fixate on the things that bugged me, and I'm definitely doing that here.
No, I definitely feel that because I went back and listened to our Elvis discussion a few days ago, and I was like, wow, I sounded like I hate that movie, and Elvis is like my top 5 of the year. Like,
yeah.
What? But yeah, speaking of best actor contenders, I mean, there's Austin Butler for Elvis, who I've been saying all along, he's the winner. But other people, they said it's Brendan Fraser for The Whale. I finally seen it now, so I can finally kind of connect the dots with me and be like, okay, here's why I didn't originally think he was winning, and here's why I still don't think he's winning. While I do admit the makeup on him is great, he's giving his all, but my overall issues with the whole movie still stand there. His script, at least for me, is very not giving him much to work with. He does get like 2 scenes specifically there at the end, but throughout it kind of just seems like he's playing the same note throughout. And I guess what worked about the ending for me wasn't much so what they're saying, but it's the way it's presented. That's the one scene where you do get some interesting camera shots and movements from Aronofsky. you get to see the makeup in full force without going into too much detail. And that's what really worked, because there is some pop to a style there while also showcasing, hey, you have two really good actors across from each other, and let's show off this amazing makeup that we're doing here. I still think that Elvis is winning makeup, still winning actor over this, but I want to hear your discussion after sitting with the movie for a few months. Have your thoughts changed any bit? Do you still feel like this is the fronts for both of those, or are you leaning more elsewhere?
No, I mean, I've been on the Colin Farrell train for a very long time. I just want to see the day where I switched to Colin Farrell, because I had Brendan Fraser before, and then I switched to Colin Farrell in October.
Okay, so yeah, you've been there a while.
I've been there for a while, and I had Brendan Fraser in September. But yeah, ultimately, I guess how I feel about Brendan Fraser in this, I think he's great. He'd be my second pick in this category. I think he plays the character exceptionally well. I think that he shows a lot of range, a lot of emotional depth in this role. He does a really good job of playing the character with love, not playing the character as a spectacle or making him into someone to gawk at. Which a lesser actor I think agree. Could have done. I think he understands Charlie, and he gives a lot of empathy to this character. He, as much as the character might not altogether be likable, I think that's because of how well layered Brendan Fraser has created this character to be. Because this character is extremely flawed. He is, not pleasant to be around. He's so depressed that he's decided to eat himself to death, right? That's like not the easiest character to get into, but he's someone who also believes that there's good in the world. I don't know, I think Brendan Fraser gives so much empathy to that. And it's not just the character who says that people are capable of doing good. It's the character and it's the performance. And I think that the thing that makes Fraser's performance truly great is that he sees the good in Charlie.
Yeah. Like I've mentioned before, I don't want to sound too negative. I do think he is very good in this role. I just feel like he's making the most out of the circumstances. Like, while I'm not head over heels for his performance, it's not like he's giving a bad performance or he's awful or anything. He's still very good. Just everything around him, for me, really didn't work. But did you have some final thoughts here? This originally, at the beginning of the Oscar season, a lot of people were like, Best Picture, Best Actor, Screenplay, Makeup, Supporting Actors, maybe times two. And now we're looking at least to me, is just going to be actor, just going to be makeup, and maybe adapted. How do you feel at this moment?
I think those three are very possible. I don't have it in adapted right now, but I do have in makeup and in actor. And I still have it as my winner for makeup. I know that there's a huge argument for Elvis. I know that with Elvis, they had to do a lot of different time periods. They had to do a lot of shifting. Like, there's multiple characters that they're doing, versus with this, it's just one character. However, I think that the work that they did is so fantastic here. And most of Brendan Fraser's campaign has been him getting out there on the road, talking about the makeup. He's not just saying, look at my performance. He's saying, the makeup team allowed me to do that. I wouldn't have been able to do that without the makeup team. So I think that there's a world where they can potentially honor Fraser's performance just by giving it a makeup, and not by giving him the Oscar, but by giving it a makeup win. That said, Elvis has a better case because it has so much prosthetics, and there's so many different characters that that they're doing makeup on. There's a lot of time covered. You have to see the progression of both the Colonel and Elvis growing older, but at the same time, the makeup is a little bit cheesy in Elvis, whereas it's hyper realistic here.
See, you make two great points there. Fraser's out there campaigning and supporting the makeup team. Who did that last year? Jessica Chastain, Tammy Faye. You know what movie has weird, bombastic, and sometimes not the best makeup? Jessica Chastain, Tammy Faye. So our winner from last year works for both of the frontrunners here. I think a Fraser wins actor, obviously gets makeup. A Butler wins actor, obviously that gets makeup. But if Farrell wins actor, I think that's where the interesting race will be, is because there'll be
Yeah.
more broad support for Elvis across. But for people who really love Frasier, really love The Whale, this is a category where it realistically has a chance to win, because even if it cracks the adapted lineup, it's not winning there. And most people seem they've moved Frasier off of 1 into that 2, into that 3 range, while makeup, it's either number 1 or number 2.
Even if Elvis can pull off wins everywhere else, it's not guaranteed in makeup. Because if you think about it, if voters saw both of these movies ages ago, and they're looking at their ballot going, okay, which had the better makeup? Elvis or The Whale? I think that the first thought that's going to come into their head was, I noticed the makeup in The Whale more. So,
Fair enough.
Right?
Last question I want to ask you before we hop out. Hong Chow, supporting actress. This is someone that people have talked about all season long. Originally, she was like number 1 or number 2. She's dropped a little bit, but she's still in the conversation. Do you see a world, because The Whale to me is a movie that a lot of people are mixed on. They either love this movie, or they're like me, and they really don't like this movie. There's not many people like you that's kind of in the middle. Yeah. So, do you think the overwhelming support from those people all the way in the positive can carry her into this category, which is so sporadic at the moment? Or do you think she's brought down by the naysayers of the film?
I think that the people who are overwhelmingly positive about this film have been and always will be people who are not Academy demographic. It was a film Twitter love, and I think that a lot of people were blinded by the huge standing ovations for Brendan Fraser, which that was in support of his performance, not of the film. Like when I saw The Whale at TIFF, that huge standing ovation that was reported from TIFF, that didn't start until Brendan Fraser came out on stage. It wasn't like with Women Talking, we erupted in a standing ovation as soon as the movie ended. It was more similar to The Fabelmans, where everyone waited, and when Spielberg came out, we all stood up. With this, it was Brendan Fraser. And the high Letterboxd score that it had for so long, there was way too many reviews on there for it to have been a genuine score. That was people inflating it because they wanted to see Brendan Fraser succeed. I'm happy for him. I want to see him succeed, but it's been inflated the entire time. As for Hong Chow, I would love to see her in the 5. She was, in my opinion, the best part of the movie, other than Fraser. I mean, Fraser obviously is a shining star, but Hong Chow, she's great. She deserves some recognition someday, very soon. She deserved it for Downsizing. She deserves it for The Whale. I think that she is not going to be in the top 5. She didn't make the Golden Globe. She didn't make the Critics' Choice. She's not going to make SAG. She's not going to make BAFTA. Where is she going to show up, right? I mean, she's showing up at critics' circles. Even critics' circles that don't care for The Whale in any other categories except for... They'll nominate Fraser and they'll nominate Chow. So, I guess there's a possibility that it could happen, but it's a very small one because what other precursor can she make?
Fair enough. I fully agree. I've never really been high on her. Like, I've understood why, because if you think this movie's coming in for picture, obviously she's probably in there. But as we see, A24, they don't really campaign multiple movies. Everything Everywhere's been their horse all season, and The Whale has been the back seat, and The Whale's really been a Brendan Fraser vessel, and with him comes along the makeup. And just because of how weak this year's for adapted, it's battling there for the 5th spot, along with All Quiet, along with Top Gun, and along with Living. And I guess we'll have to see at the end of the day which 2 get in. So everyone out there, let us know which 2 adapted screenplays you think are going to round out that 5. And are you still on the Brendan Fraser train for winning Best Actor, or have you hopped off? But until next time, my name is Dyl.
And my name is Matt, and this is Fantasy Film Whale.